I've been planning on sort of replaying my old Gamecube for a little while now, and the most expensive part of it was buying the controllers. Wavebirds were $50 a piece, even wired controllers are going for $10-15 used. So needless to say, I was very, very tempted when I saw that Deal Extreme and PriceAngels.com had these replicas or fakes or clones or third-party controllers, and their photos made it look like one-to-one, they claim OEM sort of controllers, and while they're not OEM, there are some key differences. They are very, very good third-party controllers. So I have the original controller over here that I had for years now, and the buttons over here feel more or less exactly the same. The D-pad, or the joystick, and the C joystick are very similar. They feel a little cheaper here. You can tell they used a different plastic, but more or less they move the same. They feel very close, and in practice the joystick is actually one of the best on third-party controllers I've used yet. I often had problems when I had my very, very first GameCube and my second GameCube, where how the GameCube's controller, or most controllers for that matter, detect the difference between jamming it all the way or just moving it ever so slightly? While third-party controllers seem to either have their own sensitivity or just ignore it completely. So it's nice to see that there's a controller that moves in the exact same way. So if you move this much on here and the same amount on this controller, it's exactly the same. I've been playing Wind Waker pretty extensively on this controller, so you can trust me when I say that the joystick works exactly the same. Navigating the tricky, very narrow paths where you have to walk Link down beside either sides of a cliff. Well, you can't really do it on... It's really hard on some third-party controllers if you got used to the original, but it wasn't a problem for this controller. Now, the difference, the buttons, the whole front face works almost, pretty much exactly the same, but it's these three buttons that you can see differences. Now this one, the L and R buttons are just shaped. So in the original, this edge and this edge is a little more rounded off, and their curve, the notch, is a little less concave. So let's see if you can see it here. You can see it's a little wider. It's not as deep. It does affect how it feels, but it's not really problematic. The buttons feel exactly the same. It's more just different feel, and it's ever so slight, so most people won't even notice it. The big difference is the Z button. Now, if you click it on the fake controller, you hear that loud click, whereas on the original, it's very soft. Very soft click sound, you can barely hear it. It's a lot easier to press here as well. I mean, you're not gonna overexert yourself pressing this, or even come to a problem, but it just feels different, significantly different. So for those of you who are used to the GameCube controllers, this might take a bit of getting used to. Now, overall, I'm pretty happy with this controller. I mean, it is a bit cheaper, I guess, feeling. The material is rough instead of smooth, although I think that's a design choice. It actually makes it feel a little more rugged and your grip is a little better. But like the edges for the plastic aren't molded perfectly. I mean, they're pretty good, but you don't have the quality Nintendo feel to it. Obviously, white doesn't exist. I don't think it exists for Gamecube, so people will know instantly it's a third-party controller. There's no logo here. I wish there was. It would have made it look a lot better. Neither is there a serial number or the Nintendo logo back here. So I would have been very happy if they had the Nintendo logo up here, the GameCube one. But overall, for a cheap third-party controller, I think it's a pretty good deal. If you order 3 or 4 of them, it's $7 a piece. So, you know, it's a pretty solid controller for $7 shipped. So the wiring is a little shorter. It's, I think, a little less than 10 centimeters shorter. Sorry about that. The plugs obviously fit, and they're designed to look exactly alike, except obviously the color. Now, you have to be aware, Price Angels sells a couple of these. There's one with packaging, they charge you an extra $1. There's a black one that I really wanted to get, but it had 80 centimeters of cord, which is a lot shorter than the original. Roughly half. Well, a little over half of the original. So you'd have to buy an extension cord, and that would defeat the purpose. It would look kind of ugly. So I went with the white one. I mean, these look great beside your Nintendo Wii and so on. And overall, I think it's a very solid deal. If you buy a couple of these, if you plan to buy 4 controllers, you know, you really can't beat $7 a piece. You get them shipped to your door for $28. I highly, highly recommend these. I think they're a good solution. Great controllers. I wish they were a little closer to real ones at $7. I thought they could have done better, but I mean, it's cheaper than the originals and close enough. So thank you for watching. Be sure to check out my new YouTube channel. I'm gonna start reviewing random electronics like these GameCube controllers. So thanks for watching.